All right, everybody, let's get this thing rolling. Have had a little issue with the camera, so give me 1 second while I get that set up real quick, and then we'll get started. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday. Okay. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman here. I know I got the AthGeek thing up there, but we are talking Snyderverse today. We're talking Snyderverse. Now, I know everybody is talking about this trailer. I saw that there's a new trailer. I did not watch it yet, so we're going to react to that as we get into this. But appreciate everyone for being here on the stream. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already done so, and subscribe to the AthGeek / the Observant Lineman, Uche Waneri. Know you guys are ready to get into this. We are 4 days away. 4 days away from the Snyder Cut. Everybody is about to lose their minds. Let me do a little adjusting here. My DSLR is acting a little stupid, so we're going with the webcam. We'll do it live. Fuck it. But yes, everyone, like and share. So we have a new trailer, I hear. Let's take a look at that. All right, let me get this off of here because that is acting funny right now. All right, so first we're going to take a look at this trailer because I know everybody's pretty excited for that. Let's have at it. Okay, this is 1 hour ago. Okay, how long is this? This is 2 minutes, 29 seconds. I haven't seen it. I heard about it, but we're about to get into it right now. Let me do some adjusting here now that we're gonna watch a trailer because I didn't plan for that initially. So grab me trusty headphones here. Or you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my mic so I can watch it with my speakers because Streamlabs OBS will start acting funny if I start plugging in stuff and rearranging settings on the go. So let me mute my mic real quick. We're going to watch this trailer and then after the initial watch, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and put the headphones on so I can react so you guys can hear me react. I think that's a better deal there. I think that'll work for us. All right. Okay. Let me arrange this. Put this here. And we should be good to go. Should be good to go. Let's bring this. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Whoops. Make this a little bit smaller so we get a clear look at this thing. All right. And let's get into it, folks. Here we go. This is official trailer number 2 for the Snyder Cut. 1 hour. It's been out. 1 hour. Oh, my good God. Good God gravy. Here we go. Here we go. Turn it up!
So begins the end. For Darkseid.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Let's start it over.
So begins the end.
So begins the end.
For Darkseid.
Whoo! There he is!
Seeing the being is strong. Maybe one. He's back.
I spent a lot of time
The
trying to
bat.
decide this. I made a promise to him on his grave. I need to bring us together. enemies coming from far away.
They serve an old power.
This world is divided.
Woo!
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonium. It will fall in his name. I have
Ho,
turned
ho,
the world
ho!
to dust. All of existence shall be mine.
Oh, let's go! Holy shit.
I have a second chance. I am not gonna waste it.
Holy
They said the
shit,
age of
let's
heroes
go!
will never come again.
Fighting the devil and his army.
Oh,
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us united.
yes, sir.
It's time to stand. Fight.
Go!
The time is now.
Oh! You know we got to watch it again. We got to watch it again all the way through. Then I'm going to break it down. Man, this done turned into a trailer reaction stream. Here we go.
Begins the end. For Darkseid.
I've never seen a being this strong. Maybe one. He's back.
God, that's
A lot of
beautiful.
time trying to divide us. I made a promise to him on his grave. I need to bring us together. There
God.
are enemies coming from far away.
They serve an old power.
This world is divided. No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonium. It will fall in his name. I have turned worlds to dust. All of existence shall be mine.
I have a second chance. I am not gonna waste it.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
Oh,
Fighting
shit.
the devil and his army. You know, I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us united.
It's time to stand. Fight. The time is now.
Man. Oh. I mean, you just feel the level of just the scale of just the energy. It's crazy, right? Like, okay, so oh man. Whoo! Gotta take that in for a second, guys. Gotta take that in for a second. So I'm gonna turn this down. Man. Okay, so when we get there, I'll talk about it. But obviously, we got, these two clips here that we've seen. And I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Who was it that was saying that Darkseid's too small? That Darkseid wasn't big enough. He wasn't in the weight room. Who was it that said that? Who said that in their video? Who was it? It was Jody. It was Jody. Jody's Corner. Who said Darkseid is too small? Darkseid ain't big enough. He wouldn't step to him. I know that much. He wouldn't step to him. Not at all. Man, you got Decide here. You got Granny Goodness here. And I mean, he's towering over them. Darkseid's towering over them. But man, he looks good. I love it. I love it. So, that's a scene we saw in the 2017. Now, one thing I noticed that I have to pause on, and I mean, come on. We know that's the bat right there. That's the bat. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Okay, so I noticed something, and I don't even remember where it was at, but, you got Flash there, you got Aquaman there. That's like one of those original shots, right? That
There are enemies coming.
that you didn't see in the 2017 version.
They serve an old power.
Okay, I think it's coming up. Okay, this is a new look here. I think I remember in the 2017 debacle that there was, this was similar, but obviously now you got the new Steppenwolf design. And I mean, come on, folks. This Steppenwolf design is magnifico. Like, come on, baby. Look at this. Look at his armor is like aware when he's ready to go to battle, or when he's in any kind of situation where there could be any danger. His armor like covers him. It spikes at the shoulders and at the neck and at the chest, and then it like lays down. Oh crap! Sorry. Knocked my headphones out. And his armor like lays down on his body, right? So you got that. And then this is a guy who I forget his name. If you know his name, put it in the chat. But this guy here is he plays Zeus. And one of the things, when the whole mess happened in 2017, this guy didn't get credited at all for being in the movie, even though he was in the movie. So it's good to see him, and it's good to know he's going to have a bigger role, because the history lesson is going to be much longer than what we got in the 2017 disaster. But gods fighting, gods, Amazonians, lanterns coming together. Let's go back right here. Let's take a look at this lantern. I remember this was Sergei Constance. Okay, Sergei Constance is the guy who acted as Zeus. He didn't get credited in 2017. Pretty sure he's going to get credited in this one. But you see here, we got Green Lantern. I forget the name of this Green Lantern, but it's an old one from decades and decades back. That was a Green Lantern. But man,
No Kryptonium. It will fall.
whoo, there he is once again. I mean, you can see everything is just fine-tuned, polished. The CGI is looking really, really nice. I'm loving it. I mean, look at his eyes. He's got that Omega effect lighting up. And this, oh my God, he just hops off the ship like, let's fucking go! Ready to take over some worlds.
Turn the worlds to dust.
Ray Porter. Shout out Ray Porter.
Shall be mine.
And I think this here is this is when I would assume when the Unity comes together on a planet and it turns the planet, terraforms it to be ready for Darkseid.
I have a second.
Black suit, beautiful.
I am not gonna waste it.
Oh, it's Christ,
They said the
the God. And look, he's re-energizing. In the comic books, for those of you who don't know why he wore the black suit, the black Superman uniform with the silver emblem. In the comic books, after the death of Superman in 1993, when he came back after Reign of the Superman, he wasn't fully charged. See, Superman didn't actually die in the comic books. He was put into basically a coma, and it appeared that he was dead, but he was actually in a coma. So when he awoke from it, by which one was it? It was the Eradicator, I think it was. The Eradicator woke him up and was using his body to energize himself. So one of the Superman that came after Superman died was using Superman's body in the Fortress of Solitude to actually re-energize or energize himself. So he was basically leeching Superman's energy. So when Superman came back, woke up from his coma, his power levels had been drained, and he needed to absorb sunlight more quickly. So that black suit actually allowed him to absorb sunlight faster, so he could get his powers back faster. Because when he came back initially in that suit, he didn't have his superpowers at full scale. So he had like Kryptonian guns and armor and all this stuff. But here, I think that's what we're seeing here, is that he is absorbing at a faster rate because he's in the black suit. Now this, ho. Now, that's Martian Manhunter. I can tell. You can tell. I mean, I wish I could zoom in, but if you're looking, let's back it up just a little bit. This is that's what I noticed when because that looks like somebody who's bald, and this looks like bare arms that can't tell if they're green, but it doesn't look like a black Superman uniform. So that looks like Martian Manhunter visiting Bruce Wayne. Here we got, oh man, hold on. So this looks like, so this looks like the Amazons here. And Themyscira, is Themyscira being taken over? Is it being destroyed? Because you have these fire pits here. This is Darkseid's fleet. And I guess they must be invading while they're, honoring their dead. This shit is going to be crazy, y'all. This shit is going to be crazy. Okay, this is what I was talking about on Twitter. That's END. Omega effect. Omega, the translation of the Omega sign is the end. So he's shooting that Omega beam. That means it's the end. The end is coming for you. That's crazy. That's the kind of nuance and attention to detail that Zack Snyder has in his movies. And, man, look at the beams. They're turning the water into vapor even. That's crazy.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought
Wow.
us united.
United. Here comes, boom. I love that.
It's time to stand. Fight.
Ho, 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 ho.
Stand. Fight.
Ho, 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 ho. Look at that. Ain't no mustache there. I know that much. Ain't no mustache there, boys. Shit. Oh, that's epic right there. That is epic. Look at him.
The time
Ooh.
is now.
Hold on, let's go back here.
The time.
Oh, shit.
The time.
Oh. Okay. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to get spoilery because that looks like it might be spoilery.
Fight. The time
Mm.
is now.
it is. This is what Zack talked about. That's Martian Manhunter disguised as Martha Kent. Why did you say that name? Martha Kent. Oh my God, man, I can't wait. This shit is just. This is crazy. Ha! And there he goes. That's our guy. Old Jared Leto.
Is now.
Ah. Ah. Mmm. Hell of a trailer. A hell of a final trailer. You know, and you know, I think sometimes with the final trailer of for movies that are coming out, I think sometimes people expect to get like just blown away, right? And this is, I mean, don't get me twisted. This one is a trailer that'll blow you away. But the one thing I like about this trailer is it really shows us a lot of things that we've already seen. It really, you know, sticks to what it's been doing and just trying to paint the picture of these heroes coming together, you know, trusting each other, and taking on a threat that is, you know, like a threat that's on a level that they've never ever dealt with. Wonder Woman said it at the early part of the trailer that she's never seen a being with that much power, maybe one. And I think maybe that's where she goes off and starts to search out information on Darkseid. So, whew, man, hell of a trailer. Great trailer to kind of like end it on, and now we're in the last stretch, going for the Snyder Cut on the 18th. But yeah, what do you guys think about that trailer? Let me know in the chat. I'm looking in there now, see what you guys are talking about. Let me know what you guys think. I see somebody saying Speed Force, time travel confirmed. I mean, I think we knew time travel was coming into it. I don't think anybody's really surprised to see that. And that, you know, and that's one of the things, you know, we're all big time fans of the Snyderverse and Zack Snyder's vision for this whole DC universe, right? And it's been what, 4-5 years, 4 years pretty much that he's been dropping these little hints, giving us these screenshots from the Justice's Gray version. And, you know, for those of us who you know, been keeping up with that, we're diehards. So we're in the minority. The vast majority of people have no idea what any of this stuff means at this point, you know, and they know it looks different than what they saw in 2017. But, you know, for us, we've already seen the puzzle pieces getting put in place for the Snyder Cut release. So we're not necessarily, it's hard to spoil us. Now, we don't want to see clips of the movie online or anything like that. But you know, I think that this trailer is going to excite people who haven't kept up with the stuff that we've been keeping up with. And they're going to be looking to get in on the buzz, because believe you me, there is a ton of buzz for this movie. There's a ton of buzz for this movie. And this is going to be huge for HBO Max. This is going to be something that hopefully opens the window to restore the Snyderverse. So definitely glad that you guys let me know to do a reaction to that, because I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video later or not. But thank you guys for that. And now, you know, let's move and transition into this next portion of the stream. We're going to look at this article from the New York Times. The New York Times did an article with Zack Snyder, dropped earlier today, and that article is basically taking us through this whole redemption arc. Because you know what, guys, this is a fucking redemption arc. You know, you couldn't write this story for a movie itself, and what's happened with Zack Snyder and this entire saga that's been going on now, really since BVS. So, you know, we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna try and be thorough while not, lingering too much on one thing for too long, unless it's something that's really important, and we'll go from there. So, Zack Snyder's rough and tumble ride with Justice League. The director digs into his exit from the original version of the epic and what led to his edit, the Snyder Cut, which HBO Max will release Thursday. Am I a provocateur? A little bit. I think that's definitely that definitely fits that reaction that he has there. Got a nice little picture of him here. Says Snyder in his home in Los Angeles. This article is by Dave Itzkoff, and it says here, even superhero movies can have dual identities. The most film goers, Justice League is just start that over. Start that over. Even superhero movies can have dual identities. To most film goers, Justice League is just another misbegotten comic book adaptation that came and went in 2017. One in which DC heroes like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman united to battle an intergalactic foe. But to genre fans, Justice League is laden with notorious history. The director, Zack Snyder, exited the project during post-production, leaving it to be completed by Joss Whedon, who had come on to help rewrite it. The result was an unsatisfying attempt by Warner Brothers to kickstart its own Marvel-style franchise. And, we've beaten that horse to death. Everybody knows that what WB did and the direction that they tried to take this thing was just completely nonsensical. So we won't dwell on that. We all know that they fucked it up. Snyder occupies a singular space in the blockbuster business. After breakthrough films like Dawn of the Dead, 300, he has been both praised and pilloried for unapologetically bombastic superhero opuses like Watchmen, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. His big, brutal dust-up between those two characters, which grossed $873 million worldwide in 2016, yet still ended up a critical and commercial disappointment. I always tell people this, this movie was, in my eyes, this movie is probably the most sophisticated superhero comic book movie that I've seen since The Dark Knight. And it's a very layered film with a lot of different themes that are presented to you in ways that you don't necessarily expect. And even when I was talking with Zack on the phone, we kind of went into that because, I kind of talked about how I talked to him about how why I like his movies, why I really love his style as a filmmaker. And one of the reasons that I told him when we talked was, everything that he does in his movies has undertones, has mythical undertones, has mythological undertones that really present certain sorts of symbolism that you don't find in typical comic book movies. It's just not, they're just not that smart. And with his movies, he really does use, and you can look up some of these things that he does. Like there's a lot of, especially with BVS, there's a lot of mythology, Greek mythology that plays as an undertone to our heroes. They represent symbols of Greek mythology. And throughout his entire catalog of movies, you'll find mythical symbolism that really does add another layer to the film itself. And BVS, unfortunately, was one of those movies where all of this went over so many people's heads. And part of the reason why it went over their heads was because the movie was ripped apart. 30 minutes was taken out of it. The scenes were rearranged. The chronological order that he had set that you see in the Ultimate Edition is completely disoriented in the theatrical version. So it's hard for some people to keep up with it, and even more, they just didn't see the symbolism at all. So it really is a matter of rewatching. That's one of the things with his movies. You have to rewatch his movies over and over to pick up more on the symbolism that he puts in his movies. You don't find much symbolism in Marvel movies, and that's not to say that Marvel movies are bad because of that, but they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty cookie cutter, and there's not a lot of. It doesn't require the audience to necessarily think to themselves and try and piece things together, or it doesn't lead to. Which is one thing that leads to more watches, to rewatching it, because now you start seeing more and more things. It's like when you watch a movie the first time, you can have an initial thought about how you feel the movie was, but the more you watch it, the more you begin to pick up on more and more details that just fill in all these gaps, that just flesh out the entire movie. And that's how his movies are made. They're made to be watched multiple times. Says Snyder occupied. Oh, well, we already went through that. The making of Justice League coincided with a tragic period in Snyder's life. His daughter Autumn died by suicide in March 2017, and his family was mourning her while he tried to finish the film. It would be understandable if Snyder had chosen to disown and disregard Justice League entirely, but he did not. His fans and cast members promoted online petitions and a hashtag release the Snyder Cut, encouraging him to put forward his own edit of the movie. Eventually, Snyder acknowledged that such a project existed, not a finished version of the film, but a rough assembly that Warner Brothers gave him a budget of about $70 million to complete. HBO Max, which like Warner Brothers is owned by Warner Media, will release this 4-hour film now called Zack Snyder's Justice League on Thursday. And man, that's a sick picture. Oh, look, you got the Batmobile's even flying a little bit. Flash running. I mean, Wonder Woman might be flying here. She might be flying, guys. Don't know. She looks like she's flying. Cyborg, Aquaman, nice team shot there. On a Sunday afternoon this month, Snyder, dressed in a basic white t-shirt that exposed his heavily tattooed forearms, was relaxing at his home in Los Angeles as he spoke in a video interview. In mid-conversation, his 10-year-old daughter, Sage, barnstormed through the room to fiddle with her father's iPad settings, and he playfully shooed her away. Snyder, 55, is both self-serious and self-aware, sometimes puffing his own accomplishments and tearing them down in the same breath. He knows that whether his Justice League cut is celebrated or panned like the original, it helps burnish his professional standing either way. Riffing on the exorbitant running time of the film, he said facetiously, it's like The Irishman, but with action. You could say that. That's a fine review. You could also say it's the Godfather of superhero movies. That's another fine view. He definitely puffing his chest there. More sincerely, he spoke of the strange satisfaction at getting to release the Snyder Cut and the toll it had taken on him. It's in some ways fun to surf the wave of a cultural phenomenon, he said. In other ways, it's terrifying and horrible. He spoke further about the making of Justice League, the circumstances that led up to it, and whether audiences still want to see his grandiose take on these endearing characters. Here are edited excerpts from the conversation. Question: was there a point, going back to Batman v Superman, when you realized you were on thin ice with Warner Brothers? See, those kind of questions, that's kind of like a loaded question. Like, being on thin ice, what does that mean? How would anyone know whether or not he was on thin ice? Just because there was, a little bit of a reactionary turnabout from Warner Brothers at the time, it wasn't necessarily just being on thin ice. These people had others, third parties who were in their ears telling them that they needed to go a different direction. And, we know who the players are in that. So it was not so much thin ice as much as it was more of, I guess, mutiny. There was definitely a shift in confidence that they had, and I think that kept multiplying as we went along. They had this giant IP, and their confidence, in my point of view, had eroded. Was it a warning sign when the studio brought Joss Whedon for rewrites? It was a bit of a red flag. They were like, we think punching up the humor and doing some more fun stuff will be great. I was like, I'm happy to shoot a scene if you guys have a good idea. We kicked around a bunch of different writers, and they had come in with Joss. He's a talented writer, no two ways about it, but I really didn't see the point. And then when I was like, I'm done, I can't do this, I feel like they were volunteering Joss as the de facto finisher. You left Justice League of your own volition? Absolutely. The decision to leave was 100% mine. I knew the fight that I was in for with them, and my family needed me and I needed them. I was in a struggle at home, and then to go to my place of work and be in a second struggle, there seemed like an outrageous thing to do to myself and my loved ones. Okay, I think he means that seemed. But yeah, this is spot on. This is spot on. And, when I had my conversation with him, me and him talked for about an hour, and, that was pretty much, how he explained it to me, cause who wants to, he had enough things he was dealing with at home. Who the fuck wants to be, talked down to be questioned, at a workplace where you were told that this is going to be a director driven universe. This is going to be these are going to be films that are going to be that are going to heavily lean on the directors to lead the creative design for the movies. And as soon as the first movie dropped, Warner Brothers turned their back on that and decided they were going to start doing all this bullshit. And you saw it in Suicide Squad, you saw it in BVS, you saw it in Justice League. So, I feel them on that. Did you worry about the long-term ramifications your departure might have for your standing with Warner Brothers or your career? For sure. And the truth is, I was in such a place of desperation, I didn't care. You know what? Good riddance to Justice League. I was like, guys, really? You're going to give me a hard time? Let's go. I'll fight you right now. Like, motherfucker, let's go outside. Let's take this outside, Sujihara. Bring your ass out here. You too, Jeff. Whoop both y'all's asses. I was not in the mood for that kind of thing. I felt like we had done a great job and the movie was done. Even the 2-hour and 20-minute version that the studio had knocked me down to. And hold on, guys, real quick here. Let me read this super chat because I didn't get to it earlier and I want to make sure I do it now. Russman for $5. He says, can't wait. Uche, thank you. That's for the breakdown we did of the trailer there. So appreciate that super chat there, Russ. And we're going to keep it moving. Can you guys hear me? Let me turn this thing up a little bit. Feel like you guys can't hear me that well. All right, let's, can you guys hear me now? I probably can hear me better now, right? Okay. All right, let's get back to it. How did you end up with a director's cut of the film? Almost every movie I've ever made has a director's cut. When I said, okay, I'm done, I told one of the editors I worked with, Carlos Castellon, put it together as best you can and give it to me. A bunch of my inner circle buddies who worked on the movie always talked about, oh, maybe we just drop a thumb drive somewhere and let a fan, quote unquote fan, find it. And I was like, that's funny, but I think it's better if it just lives as this thing that no one will ever see. I've lost my appetite for the fight. And I mean, man, guys, that's, how sad is that, right? How defeated must he have felt where he just was like, fuck it. I don't care. I'm over it. I'm done. He just lost his daughter. You know, the movie studio was trying to force all these different things on him. They're putting him in a position where you know, it was going to be hard for him to really find the energy and find the intestinal fortitude to continue on with the movie in the way that he wanted it to be done. And I mean, look, you know, that's a huge, for, you know, when this is your life, you know what I mean? This is somebody's life. This is his life's work. This is, this was such a huge project, such a huge undertaking. You know, I could only imagine. I mean, that's like, you know, you see athletes go out and play their sports, and they may have had a family member pass the night before or the week of their match, and you see that heaviness that they come into the field to play with. I mean, you see it all the time. Well, you don't see it all the time, but you see it sometimes in football. You see it in all kinds of different sports and events where someone's lost a loved one, and you know, it's hard. It's really hard. I've seen one of those scenarios play out with a teammate in football, and you know, it's hard for somebody who's in that position to even get out of bed in the morning, you know, to find the strength when your heart is broken, and it's usually the people who are around you, your support group, your team. Like, and in football, it would be like your teammates. They lift you up, they carry you, they help you get over that hump, they help you continue to do, you know, what your family would want you to do. You know, you see players who come out and have these, you know, great games when a family member dies, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they had so much support from the organization, from their teammates, anybody who they deal with on a regular basis. They're there to show them that support, to give them that energy, to give them that confidence, to help, you know, lift their spirits. And he had none of that. He had none of that from the people who he had to see every day of the week. If it weren't the people who he worked with more intimately, you know, obviously those people were I'm sure very supportive of him, but the people at the top, the ones who, you know, when you're in a situation like that, if my head coach comes to me and puts his arm around me and tells me, hey man, you know, we love you, you know, we want you, you know, we got you, you know, just take the time you need for you and your family, and you know, the team will be here to support you and help you through this hard time. He didn't have that. You're supposed to get that kind of support. That's the human side of this that they just had no respect for. So it says here, what does it say? Should he have tried to emulate Marvel more? Snyder said no. A director has one skill, your point of view. Makes sense. So here's the next question. Says, were you dropping hints to its existence in hopes that it would eventually be released? It was more just me having fun on Vero with my fans. Did I think there would ever be a version of this where the fans' rallying cry got so loud that a big company like Warner Media would consider this as an option? Absolutely not. I thought maybe in 10 years there might be a DVD version where they might go, hey, maybe it's worth a couple of dollars if we spruce up the Snyder Cut. And now the same media company you clashed with on Justice League under different management is letting you put out your version of it. He says, I appreciate that. I really do. This movie wouldn't exist if it wasn't for HBO Max. I'm eternally grateful for them. And the viewing experience is still at a hugely high quality. It's really up to your TV. It's in the same aspect ratio as First Cow. Those two movies share some common DNA, I think, as he laughs. I really did like First Cow, actually. I really did like First Cow, actually. I would love that in a double feature. First Cow and the Snyder Cut of Justice League. He's got his sense of humor popping right now. Do you see the DC heroes on a grand level, like characters from Wagner or Lord of the Rings? It's obvious I take these characters and their mythology really seriously. I want them to be fully realized as characters existing in that world. I don't think that it's cool to have fun at their expense. And there was a vision that we had, a complete universe, fully fleshed out, that we really wanted to take all the way. Was that to draw an intentional contrast with what Marvel is doing in its movies? I knew it before BVS when we made Man of Steel. Marvel is doing something else. They're doing at the highest level this popular action comedy with the heart. And they have that nailed. An effort to duplicate that is insanity because they're so good at it. What DC had was mythology at an epic level. Fucking right. And we here go, and we're here, and we were going to take them on this amazing journey. Frankly, I was the only one saying that. Let me reread this, because I think, again, this is what these... Let me read this again. I knew it before BVS when we made Man of Steel. Marvel is doing something else. They're doing at the highest level this popular action comedy with the heart. And they have that nailed. An effort to duplicate that is insanity because they're so good at it. What DC had was mythology at an epic level. And we were going to take them on this amazing journey. Frankly, I was the only one saying that. I mean, he just nailed it right there. He just nailed it. The DC characters, the Justice League, which represents the core of the DC universe, both in the movie world and in the comic books. These are gods. They each represent one of the Greek gods. Superman is Zeus. Batman is what is Batman? Ares, Hades, I can't remember. I don't know all the Greek gods by name right this moment. But that is the picture that comes into your head, or should come into your head, when you think of DC's Justice League. These are gods. These are gods who are finding their way in the world of man. And they deal with things that are on a much different scale than what you see with Marvel. Marvel, like the meme says, Marvel is men trying to be gods, and DC is gods trying to be men. And that is where it starts. That there is a mythology. The characters of the Justice League are mythological inherently in the stories that you read, whether it be Crisis on Infinite Earths, whether it be Kingdom Come, whether it be Dark Knight's Metal. Like, all of these things are bigger than just humanity when you look at the characters in DC. And you have to portray them that way. Now, Zack took a path that I really liked in that he put them in positions as characters where these were slightly deconstructed characters that had to find themselves. Superman, Clark Kent, had to find himself, had to find those values that would make him the Superman that we all know and love. Batman has been jaded by the world that he's been in the lifelong crusade that he's been on in this cold world. Still that little kid who's suffering inside, PTSD, all of that, and he lost his way. And Superman showed him that there was a different way. With Superman, with their interactions in BVS, that brought Batman back from the edge of no return, so to speak. Wonder Woman had given up on mankind. She had seen the ugliest side of humanity. World War I, probably the most destructive war in the history of mankind. An entire generation of men died in World War I. An entire generation. World War II didn't even have nearly the deaths that World War I had. And that's what you saw in Wonder Woman. In that movie obviously had Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder working together to make it. So there was absolutely that you could see where those moments had maybe changed Diana, and the rose-colored glasses that she had on were taken away, and she was able to see the cold world for what it was. Now, it doesn't mean that she couldn't find joy in that world, but to have to witness all of these atrocities that mankind would commit leading up to the time that she would finally run into other superheroes, it really, you can see how that would chill somebody on the inside. So, the trinity of characters, these are the holy grail of comic book characters. You have to treat them with that kind of respect. You have to treat them with that kind of grandiose. And there is no way to do it other than to go fully epic. If you're going to do it, don't go into this hour 45 minute comedy, fucking action comedy type stuff. Like I don't want that. I want some epic shit. Like he said, Lord of the Rings. This is Lord of the Rings that we're building here for comic books. So anyways, back to it. Let's see here. The release of your Justice League brings back some painful memories, but aren't you savoring it a bit too? Only in the sense that it's 3 years later and here I am releasing a 4-hour version of the movie. It really shows that the consumer is not wrong in a lot of ways. They can't handle anything over 2 hours. They're going to lose their minds. They were underestimated the audience. They were underestimated the audience themselves. What? They can't handle anything over 2 hours. They're going to lose their minds. Zack does talk like that. Zack, I think he's ADD, because that's kind of how you talk when you're ADD. Your thoughts kind of stagger on top of each other. So it sounds to me like he was going one way and then another thought came in his head and he just added that, ad-libbed it into his answer. Cause I don't really once I got to here, I didn't really understand what he was saying right here. Only in the sense that it's three years later and here I am releasing a 4-hour version of the movie. It really shows that the consumer is not wrong in a lot of ways. They can't handle anything over 2 hours. They're going to lose their minds. They were underestimated, the audience themselves. Okay, this is what this is what they were telling him. This is what they were telling him, and this is his reply. So see, that's ADD, because I know exactly what I hear that in my head. How long did you want the theatrical cut of Justice League to be? My point of view is that the movie should be about 20 minutes longer each time. BVS should be 20 minutes longer than Man of Steel, and Justice League should be about 20 minutes longer than BVS. I thought the movie should be a little closer to 3 hours when I initially went into it. I know that it's indulgent. The truth is there's probably about 10 Snyder cuts. There's a longer version than the 4-hour version. There's a 3-hour version, a 2-hour and 20 version. I think I showed the studio 2 hours and 40 minutes, and then I showed them subsequent cuts of 2 hours and 30, 2 hours and 28, and 2 hours and 22. So he had a number of cuts already made. Like he had different scenarios or different versions set up for different, kind of levels of satisfaction from the studio. So, obviously, you want to start with with what your full thing is. So if he had something bigger than 4 hours, it's probably like 4 hours, 20 minutes, 4 hours, 30 minutes. And obviously, that's going to come down, but that's, he explains it in that way. How did you end up with enough footage for a 4-hour movie? I do it on every movie. I tend to shoot a lot, but it's really carefully done. It's not like we're just running a second camera. Everything is very methodically thought out. When I sit down to draw the movie is different than the movie the studio wants or that anybody knows about. Oh my God. Remember this shit here? Oh, well, this is this the, well, I don't know. It doesn't matter what version it is. That just brings back bad memories. That picture right there just brings back bad memories. I don't care. Have to see it in its new form for that bad taste to go away. Why did you bring back some of your actors to shoot a new finale? A new finale? Okay. I added it because this was going to be the last movie I make for the DCU, and to have this entire cinematic universe without Batman and Joker meeting up just felt weird. Okay, he's going into He's going into talking about Leto's Joker. Jared and I had a bunch of conversations about it. I had mentioned it to Ben, and I was like, Ben, let's just do it at my house. I could shoot it in the backyard. Don't tell the studio, and I'm not going to pay you guys. I'm just going to shoot it myself. That's some gangster shit right there. That's some gangster shit. That's Snyder, though. That's Snyder. That's Zack, right? And of course, I mean, these guys are his friends. These guys are guys that, you know, really respect him. Obviously, the entire cast felt for him in the situation that he had been put in once, you know, post the situation with, you know, his daughter passing away and the studio, you know, basically railroading him. So, I mean, does anybody really think that that any of these guys would ask for money on this? They just wanted to be a part of this. But right there, let me take a look in the chat, see what you guys are saying. Let me see here. Let's see. Okay. You guys are going in in the chat. Let's see, y'all. Shazam, Zeus, Superman is Jesus. Yeah. I see. I know that the Jesus symbolism with Superman is not. That's not lost upon me. I realize that. Let's see here. Bad memories. Will the DCU survive without Snyder? You know, look, I think that, and this is just my opinion, but I think personally that how this movie is received and the effect it has on HBO Max in terms of new subscribers, you know, if this thing blows the hinges off of HBO Max, I think anything's possible. You know, I asked Zack about it after Grace Randolph. What's her name? Grace Randolph. After Grace Randolph put her tweet out there, you know, I waited and I asked him in a way without asking him, but he knew I was asking him. I mean, his stance has been the same throughout it. He's like, I'll believe it when I fucking see it. He says, I have no expectations from them. And, you know, it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, that I don't, you know, and this is what he told me. He says he doesn't care what sources told Grace, because at the end of the day, until they show him a contract and show him, you know, proof that they're willing to do anything after this, he's not even thinking about it. Just so you guys can kind of put that to rest in your mind, at least put it to rest in your mind until the dust settles after this movie comes out and after, you know, we start to see numbers from HBO Max. That's going to be what's huge, is the numbers. That's going to dictate everything. If these numbers if this thing is at an unbelievable number, like crazy number of new subscribers because of it, who stay around, then, you know, somebody's going to say, hey, what about a Justice League 2? Because we all know those storyboards put, you know, a lot more energy into the movement. The storyboards did a lot for the movement. And even those storyboards, even though those are outdated, like he's got new storyboards that have that actually sync up with the end of this movie, the end of the Snyder Cut moving forward. So there is a plan. If it happens, he has his outlines ready. But again, it's all going to come down to the business side of this. So everybody needs to understand that. Doesn't matter how good this movie is. That does not matter. What matters is how much does this movie move the needle for subscribers for HBO Max. That is 100% going to be the deciding factor in whether or not there is a possibility to restore the Snyderverse. We as fans, yes, we need to keep our campaign going to restore the Snyderverse, but understand, it's one thing to tweet restore the Snyderverse, and it's another thing to not be signed up for HBO Max. It's another thing to bootleg the movie from somewhere. You know what I mean? All those things hurt the ability to get the Snyderverse restored. So, tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your friends' parents. Hell, tell the fucking dog. Sign up for HBO Max. However you got to do it. Why did you bring back? Oh, okay. We already went through that. Is that what you ended up doing? No. What happened is it worked out and we were able to do it for real. And then I called the rest of the cast members and said, hey, would you guys be down to come around and do it? The actor Ray Fisher raised complaints alleging that Whedon was abusive to him on Justice League reshoots, which led to an investigation by Warner Media and other actors coming forward with accounts of similar experiences with Whedon. Were you aware this was happening? Not at the time. The last thing they wanted to do was call me, complaining about them having a hard time shooting. But in retrospect, do I feel bad that they had to go through that? I do. These guys are my friends, and they're amazing actors, and they're strong people. I want them to be taken care of and in a healthy situation. It wasn't there, so your opinion on it is probably as good as mine. Why, there's like some noticeable typos in here, or noticeable where did this come from? Where did this come from? That didn't need to be there. That bothers me. Why did you end the movie with essentially a cliffhanger teasing another movie that's never going to come? The ask was for my version of the movie. Straight up. That was his version. He made the movie as if it was the next part in the arc. And that's it. Had you gotten to make further Justice League movies, what would have happened in them? It's the fall of Earth when Superman succumbs to the anti-life. And then sending Flash back in time to change one element so that doesn't happen. And then the big battle where we beat him. When Darkseid comes to Earth in the movie that you'll never see, the armies of Earth all unite again as they did before. This time there would be aircraft carriers, special forces guys, all the armies of the world come together, as well as Atlanteans rising out of the ocean and the Themyscirians coming off their island. That was our big finale, but it's a long drum roll and guitar solo to get there. Since Justice League, there have been other DC movies like Aquaman and Shazam. They have gotten more enthusiastic reviews and made more money. Does that sting for you that your films didn't achieve that? Well, let's correct the part of what he's saying here. Aquaman made $1 billion. Shazam made like $350 million. Like, Shazam didn't really make much money. And if you're going to compare, BVS made $873 million, but when BVS got released on Blu-ray, BVS became the number one selling Blu-ray, the Ultimate Edition, ever released. It was number one on the Blu-ray sales chart for 5 weeks. They made money on BVS. They made plenty of money on BVS. Where they did lose money was that debacle that they released in 2017. But he says here, I couldn't be happier. It doesn't sting for me at all. Those movies are cool, and they're really well made and excellent. But BVS, love it or hate it, it's probably the most mentioned movie in hashtags and references. There you go, Zack. Fuck you talking about. That's what I mean. He kind of snapped back at the interviewer with that. It's the closest thing to a cult film that could exist at this level of pop culture. Am I a provocateur? A little bit. Is my job to make some pop culture piece of candy that you eat and forget about the next day? Nah. I would rather fuck you up in a movie than make it nice and pretty for everybody. Let's be frank. There's no cult of Aquaman. Jason is a force of nature. And by all means, I want there to be 100 Aquaman movies because he's an awesome guy. But it's not controversial. And I have purposely, because I love it, made the movies difficult. I love that. I love this fucking response. I love it because this is what I wanted. That's what I want. I don't want no fucking movie that I don't care about 2 days later. I'm telling you, on everything I love, the Marvel movies that I've seen, I can't tell you shit that happened in any of them now. I don't remember them. Only one that I remember with any kind of clarity is Iron Man. That's it. I don't remember none of the other ones. I don't remember Endgame. I don't remember Infinity War. Them shits had no effect on me. They didn't make me think. I was just watching the shit. So I'm going to read this one more time. I couldn't be happier. It doesn't sting for me at all. Those movies are cool and they're really well made and excellent. But BVS, love it or hate it, it's probably the most mentioned movie in hashtags and references. BVS is 5 years old and it is still a topic of conversation in the internet world and amongst the pop culture geeks. 5 years later, still talking about BVS. Shit, if you look on YouTube, you'll find a Man of Steel, an analyzing Man of Steel video that was released like 2 or 3 months ago. How many times have we seen videos breaking down BVS, talking about whether they hate it, whether they love it, whether it become, whether, you know, and whether it's aged well or not? BVS is aged so much better than anything, in my opinion, that the MCU has released. I didn't like Black Panther. I didn't like Civil War. I didn't like any of the Captain Americas. I thought that what was the second one called? See, that's the thing. What was the second Captain America movie called? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Something. Winter Soldier. Yeah, Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was like, I didn't give a fuck. It was cool, but I don't remember nothing about that movie. I don't even know who the villain was outside of old boy with the arm, Bucky. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think. Literally, I'm sitting here trying to think what. You know one Marvel movie that I actually really, really, really enjoyed, and I still, when I think about Marvel movies, that's the one that comes to my mind if I think about what's one that's really good. Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok. Thor is actually the only character in the MCU that I give a damn about because he's a god. And he's actually a well fleshed out character. He is, to me, he's the best. He's the most fleshed out character in the entirety of their universe. And he's the only one that I really enjoyed one of his 3 movies. Because the other 2, the second one, garbage. First one, TV movie. That's what it felt like. But yeah, so let's continue here. He says, it's the closest thing to a cult film that could exist at this level of pop culture. Am I a provocateur? A little bit. Is my job to make some popcorn piece of candy? Is my job to make some pop culture piece of candy that you eat and forget about the next day? Nah, I would rather fuck you up in a movie than make it nice and pretty for everybody. Let's be frank. There's no cult of Aquaman. Jason is a force of nature, and by all means, I want there to be 100 Aquaman movies because he's an awesome guy. But it's not controversial. And I have purposely, because I love it, made the movies difficult. And I think we understand what he's saying there. You know, Aquaman made $1 billion, but let's be real. Aquaman was like, that is the best attempt that DC had at making a Marvel movie. And I liked Aquaman, but I also didn't watch it a second time. Haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. Not because I don't like it, just because it felt like an MCU movie. And it didn't really, it was a good movie, but it didn't move me. It didn't move me. It didn't make me think about it when I got home. I was like, that was cool. I liked it. Fun movie. Now I'm going home. Is it possible that the zeitgeist just didn't embrace your interpretation of these characters? It could be, and that's fine too. I don't have a dog in the hunt. When I made Watchmen, it's deconstructionist. It's a movie that pokes holes in your heroes. And BVS is the same thing. It's meant to say, oh, Batman's drunk and taking painkillers and he's sleeping with some anonymous girl. He's a broken person. This dude gets it. He understands what he's trying to do. He's not making this vast, interconnected, family movie style universe. He's making a movie with these iconic, godlike characters, and he's showing their flaws. He's showing their missteps. He's showing the selfishness. He's showing, that they can be, fallible people. But what makes them great is the ability to come back from that and become the symbols that they want to be. Batman's drunk and taking painkillers and he's sleeping with an anonymous girl. He's a broken person. Oh, that resonates with me so hard because I saw that the moment that when I watched BVS in the camera cut to the prescription pills on the table, the bottle or on the nightstand, the bottle of wine and the glass that he picks up the wine and just chugs this shit. He's broken. This is Batman who is close to just giving up. I mean, come on. He dresses up as a bat and he goes out at night and he beats people up. He has issues. I do think the movie came along at a point where everyone was like, oh, we don't want that Batman. We want Batman to be the warrior monk who's cool. And I personally am fine with that. When you see what Marvel is doing in its movies, do you ever think I should be doing more of that? No, not at all. See, what kind of stupid ass fucking question is that? You asked him that shit earlier. He told you what his perspective was. Why would you ask him the same question again in shorter format and think you're going to get a different answer? He says, no, not at all. I don't know how to hit a ball any different than I hit it. A director has one skill, your point of view. That's all you have. If you're trying to intimidate or imitate another way of making a movie, then you're on a slippery slope. And that's 100% correct. And you see what that slippery slope gets you with that 2017 pile of garbage. That is when you try to imitate something that you're not. Even though the DC movies have retained your principal cast members like Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa, they're moving away from storylines that your films set up and the sense of a shared universe they established. Do you feel like they're dismantling your legacy? He says they are 100% moving away. They consider the theatrical cut of Justice League as canon. That's their decision. I wish them all the best, and I hope the whole thing is a giant blockbuster on top of blockbuster on top of blockbuster. The stars of those movies are my friends, and I want them to be prosperous, and I want people to love it. And you know what? This is so awesome. Like, he has no ill will for the success of his friends in these movies and the success of those movies. I mean, his legacy is cemented with the Snyder Cut. I don't think anybody who understands what happened to him and how this thing played out will look at this and say that, oh, Snyderverse, yada yada. No, he has cemented his legacy, and at least as it pertains to this movie universe, in a way that will continue to be talked about for years to come. And I don't know if we can say the same about the aftermath that DC and the direction that DC and Warner Brothers have decided to take. I mean, shit. Look at Wonder Woman 1984. Already forgotten. Already forgotten. Can you believe it? I was so hyped for that movie. And honestly, I didn't think it was a terrible movie. But I damn sure understood that this was not the path that this was not the same kind of feel that I had with the first Wonder Woman, which Zack was involved with. It's not the same kind of feel. And it's much, much more shallow than the first Wonder Woman movie was. So, man. It's crazy. Motherfuckers are going to study in business school, in film theory school, or what, I'm sorry, I don't know the names of like movie filmmaking classes and stuff like that, but this is going to get studied. They're going to be like, this is what the fuck you don't do when you're trying to create something as a movie studio. You don't do these things. Because, I mean, could anybody have imagined that given the greatest superheroes, the original superheroes for our society worldwide, could anyone ever have imagined that given the opportunity to build a universe, to build a storyline, to build an arc that would respect the history and the enormity of these characters as icons, could anybody ever have imagined that you could fuck it up the way that WB did? I mean, it's fucked up. It's fucked up so much that now instead of Superman, we're getting Supergirl. They're not even trying to Clark Kent again. They going for Clint Ellis. Like, these motherfuckers won't make a Superman movie again. Like, Clark Kent is on the back, is on the sideline. Could anyone have ever have imagined that they would fuck it up this bad to where you had to turn away from Clark Kent? Oh my God, it makes me sick. All right. I think we're close to the end here. You've been making comic book adaptations for some 15 years. Are you done with that genre entirely? Do you feel you need to get away from it for a while? I don't think about it in those terms. It was nice to go do Army of the Dead. They were completely supportive, and it was an incredible cathartic reimmersion into that relationship. I'm trying to put together this movie called Horse Latitudes, a super micro budget movie that I'm going to shoot with my buddies in South America. It's about a man's journey into his past and how does death shape you. Am I ready to make a movie like that? I think so. So he's going back. He's going smaller. He's going back a little bit more into the indie realm. Are you still planning an adaptation of Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead? Fountainhead right now is on the back burner, and I don't know how that movie gets made, at least not right now. We need a less divided country and a little more liberal government to make that movie so people don't react to it in a certain way. Meaning if it had come out over the last few years, it would have struck the wrong tone. I think so, but we'll see. I'm in no rush. Do you think your Justice League has broader implications for the film industry and the lengths that studios will continue to go to cater to audiences? This is a social experiment. For millions of people, it's, oh, look, a giant superhero movie. I guess that's cool. But then for a large portion of my fans, it comes custom made. As a viewer, you have the perception more than ever that the movie was made singularly for you as you watch it. It's the culmination of this entire experience. I fought and used the hashtag release the Snyder Cut, and it's in my world, in my computer, on my TV, in my house. I don't think anybody can quantify what that means yet. What will you do when it's finally released? I have to go to the dentist on the 18th. That's how my day is going to be. And that's it. That is the interview. That is a pretty candid look into Zack's perception in regards to everything that's happened, the movie and finishing it itself, and potential for the future. And like I said before, guys, like don't think let's try not to think about anything past the 18th in regards to the Snyderverse. Let's just embrace the 18th as it comes closer to us. Let's embrace it. Let's enjoy it. I mean, we're gonna have plenty of time to break this thing down, to talk about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure this movie's gonna be talked about for a long time after the fact. I don't think that it's an exaggeration to think that at all. I mean, you see his mentality. Zack's mentality is that this was going to be his vision, period. He doesn't care about anything else. He's focused on one singular thing, and that was his vision. Everything else is a distraction. And until they show him or prove to him that they want to go further, he's moving as if it's not going to happen, which is the right mentality to take. That's the right way to look at it. You don't want to, in any way, fool yourself into thinking that there's a chance for Justice League 2, because you're probably going to be disappointed. Now, if you move about your business and enjoy what we're about to receive here in a few days, and really cherish everything that's going to come with that, online with things like YouTube, Twitter, it's going to be talked about for a long time. Then it would be much better to just approach it in that manner, because if something does happen, you will be pleasantly surprised. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And that really will be a greater gift, to be surprised by it than to, wait and expect and hope and really just string yourself along, trying to, force something that may not be in the cards. It may not be in the deck of cards for us to run with. But that is the article. I thought it was a pretty good article. I really enjoyed, hearing his voice in my head while I was reading it. And I think it just shows how down to earth this guy is, how completely self-aware that he is about the situation, about his own life, and about what he wants to do moving forward. I think that, for everything he's been through, who would blame him for being bitter? I don't think anybody would blame him for being bitter. Who would blame him for having, for really having bad things to say about WB? I don't think anybody would blame him for having bad things to say about WB. I don't think anybody would. This man showed his grace. This man showed his humility, and he showed a loyalty to the fans, the people who loved his work, the people who supported him. He showed a loyalty to them. He showed us screenshots of the Justice's Gray version for 4 years. He showed us things because he wanted to give us something something more. He wanted to share where things were going. He didn't know that this was gonna get finished, but much like something like the Donner cut, like with Superman, like for fans to see even a little bit of it, I mean, that softens the blow just a little bit more. And I'm sure it softened the blow for him as well. I can tell you right now, he probably struggled mentally dealing with all of these things happening. I mean, that's his pride. Like, his pride was shattered by WB. His pride was shattered. I mean, that, I think, and I'm not saying that in any way like I talked to him and he told me that, but I'm saying that, man to man, I know what that kind of situation can do to somebody. that can shatter your confidence, your pride, your focus. And I think that the fans and our community of fans who have been behind him, a lot that helped heal. That helped his healing process. I'm 100% sure of it, because there's nothing that will warm someone's heart more than to have something that you want to share and for people to actually enjoy what you share with them and give you words of support and give you, their best wishes. Like, all those things matter. And those are the things that allowed him to rebuild that confidence, rebuild that pride, find, some kind of closure in his heart for the anger that he may have had, the bitterness that he may have had. All those things were washed away by the support of the fans. So it's much deeper than just the Snyder Cut. It's much deeper than getting this movie finished. Like, I mean, in a way, and I mean, I would never know this, but I feel like in a way this could have been something that really saved his own life, because he's a principled person, and from reading this, I don't feel like, I feel like any edginess that there may have been about the situation is kind of dissipated. I feel like it's not there anymore. But I think that really has to do more with the fan base and the enormous support bringing him to that point where he was able to let go of any negativity he had around the process of it. I mean, he said early in the interview that he was done with it, that he was done with it. If there was no support, if there was no fan community that started the Release of Snyder Cut hashtag and started that movement, then I think it's it's likely that he probably would have had a ton of resentment and a ton of bitterness about that. And that may have affected his life. It may have affected his filmmaking from that point on. So I think that, every one of us who are fans, we all should, pat ourselves on the back in that we helped a man who was at such a high point of desperation. Like he said, we helped him cross the bridge and get to the other side mentally. And that's huge. You don't understand how big that is. I mean, I've been there in my own mind. Like, as a player, played football my entire life, retired. When I retired, I swear I went through an identity crisis. I was depressed. I was borderline suicidal. Like, I had a lot of things that didn't go the way that I wanted to go when I retired. And a lot of, and there just I felt like that there was some unfinished business when I retired. So that was a heavy burden on me myself for years. And part of what got me through that, was being around people who had positive energy, being around people who I could, people that I could feel like I was a part of a team again. And and that's part of, Geeks and Gamers. Like, that's where Geeks and Gamers comes in that regard, is that it gave me that team kind of structure again, where I'm working with people to get things done, because it was a lonely life after football. There's no more locker room. There's no more teammates. I didn't really have no friends like that. I didn't really hang out with people. Like, so there was really a loneliness in my life for a long time. And until I started, like, kind of trying to find a way past just that kind of self-loathing, until I could get past that point, it was a struggle. It really was a struggle. And, finding people who I could talk with and laugh with, and, people who really look at me as part of the team, you know, to me, that meant the world. That meant I had people to kick it with and talk shit to again. It meant that I had people to, you know, communicate with and plan things with again. Like it's big. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. It's a big thing. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who probably have had the same kind of situations in their own lives. So I really could relate to that being a probable scenario for somebody like Zack, because this is his life. That's his craft. That's what he does. That's what he's always done in his life. And for it to be taken away, you know, even if we want to talk about even if you want to talk about him leaving, which he left, but still, like, he left because he had a choice to make. It was his family or it was this. And if it was the movie, then he was going to lose his family. So he of course, he took his family over the movie. And, you know, that's the right decision to make. But still, like, that was his fucking film. That was his vision. But it's a good thing that Christopher Nolan told Deborah Snyder not to let this motherfucker watch it, because shit, if he would have watched that garbage, wouldn't blame him if he was like, shit, fuck WB, I don't want to make another one. So with all that being said, guys, I really do appreciate everybody for being here, everybody for being on the stream and, you know, kind of going through this article with me. And, you know, I kind of got into talking a little bit about my own personal life, which I don't tend to do much, but, you know, I feel like it's, you know, I feel like sharing that with you guys is, it makes me feel good. I like to talk to people about these types of things because I can relate to that kind of struggle that you find yourself in when you don't know where you're going next. So, no, really do appreciate you guys very much. Don't forget, March 17th, we're going to have Zack on the live stream, the charity fundraiser for AFSP. Make sure you are there. If you can donate, please do. It's not a requirement, but I would definitely love if, you know, you guys could. And I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, we're 3 days away from it, and I still got some shit I got to get done. You know, some things we got to get finalized, but we're gonna get everything buttoned up real nice here soon. And Zack will be on the stream with us, so that's gonna be awesome. And you know, it's really gonna be a celebration for the entire fandom, in the Snyder community, and as well as just the fandom in general, fans of pop culture, fans of movies. This is going to be a moment of celebration. This is going to be New Year's Eve, Snyder Cut Eve, baby. And I can't wait to see you guys there. But that is going to be it for this stream. I will probably clip some things up and put them up on the Ath Geek channel. So make sure you go and check out my second channel, my pop culture channel, the Ath Geek. And we will catch you guys then. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening. Sunday fun day. You know, make sure you guys are staying safe out there, and I will catch all of you on the next one.